Hello, my friends, and welcome to the fourth SJ Weekly, this time of July 14th, 2018. And as you can already tell by what's on the screen, we're going to be talking about some ridiculous shit this week. And this week, it's all about Trump. Let's begin with this tweet. This is the left in 2018. Hedonistic, psychologically damaged degenerates. And they wonder why we're sick of their shit. And this would be a photo from the Trump protest. Now, obviously you have the giant Trump baby in the background. Not so giant, it turns out. They kept hyping him up as this Hindenburg-esque skyscraper-styled balloon. But really, what is that, like 15 feet at the most? It's not really that big. And somehow it cost more than Count Dankula's car. But nonetheless, this is the absolute state of the left right now. They all seem to be in drag, which is not, I mean, that by itself is not a big deal. You've got a furry here. Don't grab a pussy with blood on your hands. Okay, well, yiffin' hell, my friend. And who the fuck is this terrible off-brand Cammy cosplayer down in the middle? You can even see the bulge, and it's not even like, sorry, shit. I can't mouse over it because the thing pops up. You can even see the bulge, and it's like, it's not even like an anime trap bulge. It's just kind of disgusting. I mean, what? Listen, buddy, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I mean, you've got this guy at the bottom, like apparently opening his asshole for Trump. You've got this woman here wearing the dyke ears, and she apparently wants to lick between some fingers there. You've got Morticia, who apparently came to the protest, as well as the pink Statue of Liberty. In fact, the only regular person of the bunch seems to be right here, holding up the Dump Trump sign, and her face is being blocked by an arm. It's like, nope, you're too normal to be in this picture. You cannot. We must block you out. Of course, in the end, if you want to dress up like this or act out, you should obviously be allowed to. I don't think that these people should have been stopped from doing this. I just think that it is ridiculous. But most importantly of all, how do you think that this actually makes Trump feel? Like, if Trump were to see this picture, and someone were to come in and say, Trump, Mr. President, this is your opposition, these people, and he hands him the photograph, and Trump sees this, do you think he's going to be angry? Do you think he's going to be intimidated? Or do you think he's going to fall over laughing? Because this is what the left has been co-opted with these days. The left used to stand for liberalism, but there's nothing in this picture that makes me think these people are liberals. In fact, they all seem like socialists, which is funny because Stalin would most likely execute all of these people if he had the chance. And speaking of the blimp, London Mayor Sadiq Khan has been quoted as saying, "Can you imagine if we limited freedom of speech because somebody's feelings might be hurt?" The free speech argument coming from Sadiq Khan, or really at this point any British politician, sounds like a fucking farce. I mean, here, this image obviously contrasts with arrests for offensive Facebook and Twitter posts soar in London. But it's not just that. I mean, the absolute state of the UK right now certainly is not in the direction of free speech. I mean, I saw Sargon attending these protests in London. I saw he put up some videos on his Thinkery channel. And the police waved him off. They said, no, you can't come in here and be a journalist and interview some of these people. It's not allowed. In fact, it'd be a breach of the peace if you do so you have to go away. I guarantee you, Sadiq Khan doesn't actually care about free speech. It's an excuse for him. Because there have been so many instances in which free speech and other liberal values have been stifled. I mean, look at those weapon sweeps where they pull out knives and potato peelers and call them deadly weapons. It's just complete nonsense. Sadiq Khan and people like him want one set of rules for their group and one set of rules for the rest of society. And it just can't work like that. But back to the topic of Trump, we have this Twitter account called Matt's Idea Shop, and he says here, "Come for the good memes, stay for the bad memes." And this guy made a tweet as follows. "All I know is that insert whoever Trump ends up picking was the worst choice and is definitely a Russian Nazi." This is in reference to the Supreme Court vacancy recently and Trump being able to pick a new justice. With the joke being that it didn't really matter who Trump picked, but the left was going to be absolutely up in arms about it. And it turns out he was right, because this statement was actually published. Women's March statement on Trump's extremist SCOTUS nominee. In response to Donald Trump's nomination of XX to the Supreme Court of the United States, the Women's March released the following statement. This was actually published, guys. I don't know if it was done accidentally, or I don't know if they just failed to fill out the XXs, but these people had a statement written up, not knowing who the Supreme Court justice was going to be, and not caring about their politics or positions. They were just going to sub in the name and act outraged. And either some brave soul on the inside decided to leak this, or it was accidentally published, or they published it but just forgot to sub in the name of the people where the X's were. In any case, what Matt's Idea Shop has stumbled upon here is a prime example of Poe's Law, where this was said in jest. However, they actually did it, and in doing so revealed their true intentions. I don't even think anybody at the Women's March was offended by Donald Trump's SCOTUS pick, but they knew they had to do something like this, and it turns out that their fat fingers got them caught. And in that same vein, here's Amanda House, who is a reporter. Gotta be prepared, one protester told me proudly, with a picture of 3 signs, #Stop Kethledge, #Stop Hardiman, and Stop Kavanaugh. The protesters had gone and created signs for all 3 of the likely SCOTUS picks, just so they knew they had something when it came time to protest. To these protesters, the political positions of these judges, or their competency, or their qualifications don't actually matter. They just need to protest Trump, and they have something to do it with. In yesterday's video, To Bake or Not to Bake, I did spend some time at the end talking about Trump derangement syndrome. And in fact, the Dumping with Scrump episode that Sargon guest starred on recently, that was also a video about Trump derangement syndrome. And I seem to be talking a lot about Trump derangement syndrome recently because it is becoming more and more outlandish as time goes on. I mean, I thought the screaming woman on the day of Trump's inauguration was gonna be it. I really did. I thought there'd be a big protest. Richard Spencer would get punched. Antifa would destroy some property. Somebody like this would turn into a meme doing something absolutely stupid. But then that would be it. People would kind of adjust. There were a lot of outraged Republicans when Obama won his second term, and yet they got used to it. I remember there being some very, very angry people on the right. And yet, after, Obama got into office and he was there for a few months, they still had objections, of course. But they weren't constantly melting down in the media and in public every single day. So back in 2016, I thought, okay, there's going to be a big fuss, and then it's going to be done, and then we're going to have 4 years of Trump, and like him or hate him, it's not going to be a waking nightmare. People who were once reasonable on the left are just going absolutely insane, and like every time I wake up, there's a new person who's gone off the fucking deep end, and it's starting to get to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm the last sane person alive, for fuck's sake. And while we're on the topic of Trump, this is a tweet of Trump's from March 23rd, 2018. As a matter of national security, I've signed the omnibus spending bill. I say to Congress, I will never sign another bill like this again. To prevent this omnibus situation from ever happening again, I'm calling on Congress to give me a line item veto for all government spending bills. Now this is interesting for a few reasons. Under Obama, when the government nearly shut down, it was over a spending bill because there was too much junk packed into the spending bill. And Obama said, listen, okay, we need to, at the very least, keep government running, so I need to sign this even though I hate most of it. And a lot of presidents have frankly done this. They don't like the yearly budget that Congress sends them, but they say, you know what, in the interest of practicality, of keeping government running, and of not letting the whole thing fall apart, we're just going to wallpaper over the problems here. I'm going to sign this bill, and then we're going to work on it in the future. And that's been the case for decades now in the United States. So in my opinion, it is interesting that Trump says, I will never sign another bill like this again. I actually hope that he sticks to his guns on this one, because maybe putting Congress on blast is what needs to happen. Maybe if the government shuts down for 6 months and the entire United States goes to shit, and Trump says, listen, Congress sent me a piece of shit, send me something else, maybe there'll be some actual change. Maybe some Congress people will lose their seats. My biggest criticism of Obama is that he didn't really have a spine when it came to stuff like this. He bailed out the banks when they should have been allowed to fail, and he bailed out Congress when it should have been allowed to fail. And here's Trump speaking to a Congress run by his own party, saying that he will not bail them out again. But here's the more interesting part of this tweet. I'm calling on Congress to give me a line item veto for all government spending bills. For those of you who don't know, the line item veto is a power that a lot of the governors in the United States have. And it basically means that they can pull out a piece of legislation that needs to be signed by them, and instead of vetoing the whole thing, they can cross off certain lines of it and say, okay, well, I like this part, I don't like this part, I like this part, I don't like this part, and they cross off those lines, and then they sign it. And the state legislature has to overturn that the way they would have to overturn a regular veto. It's a very powerful tool, it's a very useful way to get rid of like pork barrel spending, that kind of stuff, and presidents have been wanting it for years. Let's scroll down a bit here. This was during the stupid Emma Gonzalez shooting shit. It's like, enough of you kids. I'm happy that you're no longer in the limelight, for fuck's sake. Let's scroll down here, and we get to this tweet. Trump wants a line item veto on budget bills. That was ruled unconstitutional 20 years ago. And let's quickly take a dip into this article. Among the president's laundry list of complaints was that the bill contains too many random and unnecessary expenses. He's absolutely right, though fuck off, ad. Though the gripe rings awfully hollow coming from the one man on Earth who is actually in a position to stop the budget from becoming law. Trump's solution, unsurprisingly, was to give more power to Trump. Congress, he said, should pass a law granting the president a line item veto over budget bills. Way back in 1996, a Republican Congress tried to do just that, passing the Line Item Veto Act in the hopes of giving then-President Bill Clinton the power to excise specific appropriations from the federal budget. The act passed, but it didn't last long. In 1997, the city of New York and a number of healthcare companies who had lost funding to one of Clinton's line item vetoes sued, arguing that the law impermissibly blurred the Constitution's separation of the legislative and executive functions of government. The Supreme Court agreed. So according to this author, what the fuck's his name? Alec Ward here, Trump committed the cardinal sin of requesting a line item veto. Do you know who else requested a line item veto? Well, Bill Clinton, obviously, because he got it and then later lost it. But also George W. Bush and President Obama. At one point in their careers, all of the recent presidents have requested the line item veto. But when Trump does it, he's a dictator, he's consolidating his power, he's tyrannical and is going to overturn democracy. It's ridiculous hyperbole. And this sort of ridiculous hyperbole lands in Trump's lap all the time. Trump's Muslim ban was an extension of Obama's Muslim ban, but nobody cared when Obama did it. Trump's child separation policy for illegal immigrants was an extension of Obama's child separation policy for illegal immigrants, and nobody cared about that either. I personally think that Trump's probably going to go down in history as not necessarily being a good president, but I don't think every single thing that he's done has been bad. People are saying that Trump is literally Hitler. Well, you know what? Even literally Hitler, the actual Hitler, wasn't pure evil. He loved his dog, he loved his girlfriend, he was a vegan, he enjoyed, I think, classical music. All of these qualities are not evil qualities just because Hitler shared those qualities. Recently I've been reading Letters to Adolf, and Letters to Adolf is a story where the Japanese ambassador in Germany is sending letters back and forth to Hitler, and also sending letters back and forth to the Japanese government. In those letters, and in his discussions with Hitler, he actually manages to humanize Hitler quite a bit, because apparently he met up with Hitler at some point and he was listening to some kind of music that they both liked, and they had like a short laugh over it or something. And I'm not sure something like Letters to Adolf could actually be published anymore, because of it's so weird to say. It's almost like Hitler has become almost too vilified. And I know where that sounds like, and I know where this is going to lead. I know someone's going to crop that and take it out of context, but the honest truth, like, Hitler was very, very, very bad. He was some of the worst that humanity has ever had to offer. And even he was not pure evil. So this notion that Trump is literally the son of fucking Satan, and that every single action he takes needs to be bombarded with this level of media scrutiny, like he's opening up clones of Auschwitz on American soil or something, It's just ridiculous. And the worst part about it is that it's so ridiculous that it's desensitizing a lot of people, including myself, to the actual bad things Trump's doing. And really, that is all that the left at this point is accomplishing. That's all that these people are accomplishing. They're so radicalized, they're so extreme, they're so hyperbolic. When Trump actually does something legitimately heinous and wrong, I don't think anybody's going to notice anymore, because these people have just simply blown their load too early. And honestly, after getting a second look at them, they could probably stand to maybe blow their load a little bit less. Alright, my friends, that about wraps it up for me. If you like my content and want to support what I'm doing, please feel free to share this video around. And if you want to support what I'm doing monetarily, please check out patreon.com/shortfatotaku. You should expect to see a new Dumpling with Scrump on Tuesday, and my next SFO video probably on Friday or Saturday, and there's a fair chance it's going to be How Cucked is Canada Part 4. I hope you guys look forward to it. I love you.